On this week's City Skylines 2 o'clock, going for a tinkle on public transport. Why didn't the reindeer cross the road? Why do birds fly south for the winter? And absolutely shocking sound effects. All this with this week's special, and hopefully feeling a lot healthier than last week's. It's the guest, Larry Skylines.
Hello, BonBon. Thanks for having me on again. Yes, I am feeling better this week. A little cold or something went through the family, and that dry, scratchy throat just doesn't lend very well to talking much. So here we are, feeling better, and feeling better about this week's topic as well.
Well, I've got to say, I'm really sad we missed out on the sexy voice, and we're back to the regular Larry voice.
Yeah, but I don't know how sexy it would have been.
Okie dokie. Yeah, we've got plenty to crack through this week. We'll start off with some Cities Skylines 1 news from this week, where anybody who was using Theme Mixer 2 would have woken up a couple of days ago to it not being there at all. I don't know if you had any awareness of this or whether it passed you by, but I did upload a short public information video on it. But basically, it looks like, the file just went, whether it was a problem with Steam or whether Nyoko was hacked. But luckily, they have re-upped it very, very quickly. Were you aware of the situation?
Yeah, I woke up to it. I woke up and what did I do? I think I jumped on Discord at some point in the morning and I saw some chatter about it. And by that point, he had already uploaded it. So it's great that he had a backup and he was able to get that back up there so quickly.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's let's say having the backup is key, but also the awareness that sometimes something can happen, and if I've got a few maps up on the workshop, if one of them suddenly disappears, I mean, I might not notice. I literally might not notice. And so anyway, there we go. But thanks Nyoko, you've done a great job there. And but yeah, I did have a bit of a shock moment as I was doing a little bit of my map build, discovering that where's my button gone? It's a lot of panic.
Yeah, there could have been a lot of reasons for that, but turns out it wasn't your fault this time.
Not this time. Every other time. Anyway, so we've had our penultimate dev diary now. Things are going to start getting interesting. I don't know exactly. Well, we know what's coming up today for us, or yesterday for you if you're watching this. But yeah, Paradox are going to be upping their game now to get the information about the game out and about. So really looking forward to see what they have lined up. But the penultimate dev diary was about sound and music, and actually, it was probably one of the most interesting. Although I don't think we learnt anything about the game. We got a real stronger feel for the feel of the game. It was really interesting. We start off. Let's talk music. Jon Valtonen, the composer, he worked on the original Cities Skylines soundtrack. What do we think about the original Cities Skylines soundtrack? What do you feel about that?
I never got tired of it. So many, I don't know, not just games, but just listening to the radio. I mean, you hear the same song over and over and over. You tend to get tired of the music you hear all the time. But that Cities Skylines soundtrack, it just seemed to flow so well, and it kind of changed as you progress through the game. And me personally, I never got tired of it. I mean, it could just sit in the background and I would be fine with it.
Yeah, unlike the radio, which was a distraction and an annoyance, that soundtrack was absolutely on point. I'm really glad they went back to him because he just clearly has the right feel for it. Just hope he has the same magic in the new game.
Yes, for sure. I can only imagine that it will be better than the first one. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. He can take that, what the work he did there, and build on it. I'm sure is what he did.
Oh, absolutely.
And I watched a little bit of Biffa's video on Monday.
Morning, Biffa.
And hello, Biffa. And he talked a little bit about how about the music and how he wasn't paying attention to a lot of the other sounds because he alluded, he didn't get into a lot of detail, but just alluded how just the music was great, I think,
Yeah,
in his opinion. So yeah,
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Well, they have gone to the next level on this one. Obviously, he works in computer games music, so he's got all the synths, he's got all the keyboards and whatever, and he could play a full orchestra on a couple of keyboards and mix the tracks together. But that wasn't the intention on this one. It was to go with live orchestral music. It's a little bit sad they weren't able to get the schedules together with the Tampere Philharmonic Orchestra, the TPO, because having it all tied into their local town would have been great, but apparently that orchestra's a little bit too busy. So the Staatskapelle of Weimar, which is the Weimar State Orchestra in Germany, apparently one of the oldest and most traditional orchestras in the world. I don't know how true that is, but that's the statement that's been used. They've gone with that one, and so we have a real orchestra. And in some ways, it makes me worry, because when you think real orchestra, you're thinking the 1812 Overture. But I think we might have had a little hint this week that there's some just like gentle music coming for us, and I'm just really looking forward. So, what are your thoughts of orchestral over synthesized?
Oh, I am all for it. I grew up outside of Philadelphia, and when I was in elementary school, the music teacher would organize these trips. So the Philadelphia Orchestra would have these concerts on Saturday mornings, I think in the late winter, early spring. Probably it must have been in the winter time. But anyway, so she would organize these trips, and we would go to the school. The kids, I guess, who paid the little bit of money it cost, get on the bus, go over to Philadelphia, and it would be just like these kids-only concerts, and adults had to be accompanied by a child in order to get in. And
Yeah.
so, I did that, I think, and it was only open to, I think, the upper grade level kids. And I think I did that both in fifth grade and sixth grade, and that really kind of instilled this appreciation for orchestras, for that type of music. And so I have, at times, different times, have gone to see an orchestra or symphony, and my wife and I would enjoy going up to, now that we're in California, going up and listening to the San Francisco Symphony from time to time. So it's a little bit about me. Probably rambled on too much about that, but yes, orchestras. I'm all for it, and that live orchestra music, I think will be absolutely phenomenal, and it will inject some more realism. The game seems to be have more realism aspects to it, not the cartoony stuff in the first game. There's a little bit more realism. And, that music always sets the mood. It's there in the background. You may not be paying attention to it, but it's certainly influencing how you're feeling about it. And so if you have, live real instruments playing, then it's just going to feel that much better as you're playing the game.
No, I'm with you. On top of that, we've got the extra bonus that there are real musicians beyond a composer actually getting paid for their work in this day and age where people don't seem to get paid. They're artists going out of work because of AI art and all this sort of stuff. So actually having real life people blowing horns and drawing strings and plucking strings and hitting bongos. I don't know. I don't play music.
And blowing horns.
And blowing horns. Yes. Dear, that's my job on YouTube. Blow my own horn. But anyway, yes. So that's like I say, I'm glad you're with me on that one. I think it should elevate the music a couple of extra steps. So anyway, he's written two pieces, Jon Valtonen, the menu and the themes. These titles seem to be for the music. On the menu piece, apparently you hear an opening fanfare, which makes perfect sense. After which the music settles, on which some to quote, on which some seemingly random woodblocks are building in the background! Exclamation point. Seemingly random woodblocks building in the background. Is this the sound of woodblocks clatting together as some kind of percussion? Or are we going to be seeing some kind of animation on the menu screen of woodblocks building in the background? A
very good question. That would be certainly interesting to have some some buildings being constructed in the background. Yeah, and the clacking of actual wood blocks would be good as well.
Yeah, because
There
I'm
was,
yeah.
one of those San Francisco Symphony performances we went to. There was a guy there by the name of Mason Bates, and he was actually a DJ, and he collaborated with the conductor of the San Francisco Symphony, and he created some pieces. And in this one piece they play, they used, well, in all the pieces they play, they used some non-traditional or non-typical instruments. And anyway, and one of them, one of the percussion guys was actually in the background there, actually just with a broom, and he was sweeping the broom on a piece of cardboard that was up against the wall behind where the drums were. And it was very interesting, and it worked in very well, and everyone sort of let out a little chuckle when this guy started sweeping the wall. But yeah, just actually those actual sounds like that, would be a lot of fun. And it would be
Yeah,
very interesting to see how, just how that's incorporated and how many
yeah.
people are going to pick up on it, but and
Well,
appreciate it for what it is. But
well, this is
yeah,
it.
it'll
Yeah,
be interesting.
yeah. Because for me, like I would say, the seemingly random wood blocks, I can't imagine that actually being in the music. Because if the music settles on random wood blocks, you can't even tell they're wood blocks. How do you know they're building? Yeah, yeah. It'll be very interesting to see what comes from that. The other piece, of course, is the themes piece, which would introduce 3 different themes for different times of the day. That's the was it day, evening, and night? Apparently, this piece would not be used in the game, but to showcase different thematic and textural materials. And I'm thinking, wait, what? The theme piece would introduce 3 different themes for different times of the day. The piece would not be used in the game, but to showcase different thematic and textural materials. I say, what, Larry?
I couldn't begin to explain to you what you're talking about.
Shall we put that down to translation? I don't know what that means. I'm really hoping it's the best thing in the world. But right now, if anybody's got any ideas, you know what the comments are for. Let me know, or let Larry know as well, because I think we're both scratching our head there. It's a curiosity, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, but during that Dev Insight video, we can hear a musical piece in the background. It's pretty much consistent throughout. I have my suspicions myself, but do you think, Larry, that this is from the menu piece, from one of the themes piece, or is it just a random track that they have thrown in to illustrate the video?
I think it's from the game at some point for sure. What part, I don't know. It seems like it would be great little like background building music, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just something very easygoing, and what do you say? We heard a lot of piano in that, I guess.
Mm.
So I don't know. I think it's definitely from the game. What part?
Yeah. Yeah,
Who
I'm
knows?
thinking given the description that they gave of the menu music, how it starts and then it builds, doesn't sound like it's a track that's going to build. So I think it's probably from the themes, but who knows? Who knows? Won't be long to find out. Right, okay. Now, I know that you're quite excited about the audio menu. Would you like to tell us why?
Oh, the audio menu. Yeah, absolutely. So I just like how many different options there are. And it seemed like there were a lot of annoying beeps and sounds and whatnot in the first game. And I don't know if you ever used the mod called Save My Ears. I used it at times so you could filter out some of those industrial sounds and the beeps and the other things that would get annoying.
Mm.
For sure, and if there are 0 mods that address the sound in this game, then they did it all correctly. But just
Yeah.
the fact that there were mods that addressed the sounds and the noises in the first game just tells you that maybe they didn't quite get that right. But yeah, the number of choices of how you can adjust the volume of all the different parts of the game. There's service building volume, background sound, sound effects, disaster, ambiance, the radio. You can enable and disable the radio as well, and then you can just adjust all these different things, and so that it should be extremely helpful right out of the gate here for everyone here to fine tune that.
Yeah, more control is better than less control, so that's a win-win.
Absolutely.
Now, I've got a small admission here, just a small admission, right? I have a bit of a new crush. I think Anu Suren is absolutely the most brilliant person I've seen in a long time. She was from the dev team, which was in the Dev Insight video. The girl with the glasses, the sound, what she was called. She was a sound technician, something like that. But she was a sound designer. Yeah, sound designer she was called. Anyway, yeah, I've got a bit of an old man crush on her. Yeah, don't look at me, Anu. Yeah, I'm old enough to be a granddad. But she was just lit up my life beautifully. Anyway, that's enough about that. But apparently, according to her, trams have bells, but buses don't. Is that common? Because certainly in the UK, the bell on the bus goes ding, 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 according to the children's song.
Well, I don't know what your UK buses are doing, but I've never heard a bell on a bus. Trams and trolleys certainly have them as they're creeping along the street. They can ding the bell to let people know that they are coming. What kind of bells do the buses in the UK have?
So this is a bell, a bit like a horn, you're saying. So you can honk vehicles out of the way. Only trams have a bell instead of a horn. Is that what? Because the bell on the bus is to notify the driver that you want to get off on the next stop. So it's one actually rung by the passenger.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. I think all buses have those, but that's an interior bell.
Oh, there you go.
When you're outside, you don't hear the interior sounds.
I've never heard. I mean,
exterior ambient sounds.
I don't have trams near me, so I've never heard a tram notify that it's coming, and if it did, whether it'd have a bell or not. But anyway, there we go.
Yeah, right. A lot of times as they're rolling through, because they'll literally in places they will either be on the street or perhaps even like on the sidewalk, and as they're rolling slowly down between stops and people are freely walking around, they'll just ring the bell so you can hear it and they're coming, like a bell on a bicycle.
Well, there you go. This is something that I have learnt today. Don't have trams near me, and I still haven't used them in Cities Skylines 1, so I've learnt nothing. Right, well, I have today anyway. Well, we're running down to the last 5 minutes, so let's start cracking through a few of these small little niblets that we've got. There's a scene in the Dev Insight video where two reindeer approach a path and then seem to stop. Do you think that animals will have the same roaming restrictions as in Cities Skylines 1 where they cannot cross a network?
It looks that way, and I would say probably yes, and it probably makes sense. It would be nice if they could differentiate which network, but if it's kind of the same thing where paths and fences and roads are, considered the same thing in game and network, that they would have that restriction.
Yeah. This
way, I guess you don't have them wandering into the fountains in your city park or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's something. I mean, we're not going to typically want reindeer and bears walking through our city, but you never know. Right, still on wildlife, a flock of what appear to be geese are seen flying in formation over the water. Do you think this might be a suggestion that birds will migrate as winter approaches, or is it just a little bit of flavour?
I would imagine that it's probably just there to show kind of the diversity in the wildlife that they've introduced. It's not just about seagulls, which everyone can be happy about. Yay, because I definitely click that button and hide it, get rid of all those birds. And they'll be making actually flapping their wings and making real sounds. As whether they are clued into the seasons, who knows? I would venture to say no. I kind of doubt that they got down to that level of detail.
Okay.
with the game.
Right.
That would be my prediction.
Right, okay, we've got 30 seconds for this one, so I'll be as quick as I can. It's quite a long question if you can keep the answer really short. Anu was really proud of the delay of the thunder when the lightning sounds, or lightning strikes. It was really very sweet, but I did notice that it was the same rumbling sound effect 5 times over. I personally don't mind this again, as extra varied rumbling effects can be added later on into the loop. But what separated me from the immersion was the lack of an electric crackle, because basically the lightning is followed very quickly by the thunder, which indicates it's very, very close by, at which point you would hear the crackle as it cuts through the air. Do you think the quickest solution here would be just to delay the thunder sound a little bit more?
Perhaps. I'm just happy that they're using the approach that they did. And that they thought about adding that delay and with the lightning, and I'm happy I got thunderstorms, because last time we talked about climate and seasons, I was like, just give me thunderstorms, just rain and hail. I didn't understand it. None of it seemed to go together, but it's already leaps and bounds better, and so hopefully they can build on it. And again, we're watching early footage, so who knows where it's gone from when all this was recorded.
Right, well, we're into the last minute, so I'm just going to basically throw in a few things that are happening very, very shortly. Today, or yesterday for you if you're watching this, 23 new videos, maybe more, coming out from Paradox with live gameplay, so watch out for all of those. Unfortunately, I wasn't invited, but Cities by Diana and many others have been. We've got the 81 collaboration in full flow. There are still a few tiles available if you want them. And I've just finished my final Cities Skylines 1 map, which will be available next week. More about that next week. But as we are now running right out of time, I just want to say, Larry, thanks for coming on this week's show. It's time to say your farewells.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Great to be here again, BonBonB. Thanks for having me on.
and thanks, Larry Line Skies. That's you. I've been BonBonB. He's been Larry, and we'll catch you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.